All right, hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to hold off until we get a few more attendees joining in. I see people kind of coming in as we speak. Welcome to our next edition of our Building Better Business webinar series. We have a great partnership now with SBA, who has come on a few times to tell us about topics that are able to help all of our small accredited businesses, small and large. And today we have Tanisha Baptiste from SBA, who's going to be telling us about how you can grow your business with the federal government, a topic I'm sure a lot of people are anxious to hear about. So good afternoon, Tanisha, and I'm going to hand things over to you.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. So today we are going to be talking about growing your business with federal government contracting. So this sometimes is a topic that can sound a little bit scary to people, but I promise you there are a lot of resources available to make the process much less daunting for you all. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint. Okay, Luke, are you able to see the PowerPoint?
Yes, yep.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so what we are going to do today is just going to be an introduction to federal government contracting. So I am going to speak to you all in a very broad overview about the programs and services available to you when it comes to federal contracting. Of course, I will be your point of contact for any questions that you may have or any follow-up information that you might be interested in. Okay, so what we are going to talk about today, we're going to do a somewhat of a virtual introduction just to see kind of where people are at when it comes to government contracting. We're going to talk about what exactly federal government contracting is. Is your business ready for contracting? How do you get started? Where do you go to find contracting opportunities? When you hear about federal government contracting certifications, what exactly are those and who qualifies for them? And then some other programs that are available to you as well. Okay, so introductions, usually when we're in person or we have smaller crowds, I kind of gauge the audience with some introductions in terms of names, your name of company, years you've been in business, and if you've had any experience with local, state, or government contracts. So what I would like to do today is there a raise your hand option or a chat function available, Luke?
There is a chat. We have a questions box that people can type their questions into. So we can do Q&A at the end, or if you kind of want to interact now, it's totally up to you.
Okay, perfect. So if anyone has had any experience with any type of contracting, if you could just kind of share your experience with us in the chat. And I'll give you guys a couple of seconds. We're going to pause right here just to see if anyone is in the chat. It's very quiet.
I don't see any coming through in the chat
Okay.
or the questions right now.
Okay. Perfect. So we are going, sounds like everyone is going to be, this is a new topic for the majority of the audience today, and that's perfectly fine. So what exactly is government contracting? The first thing that we do like to mention is the fact that the US government is the largest customer in the world We buy all types of products and services, both large, small quantities. Sometimes people have the question, would the government buy from me what I have to offer? Is it something the government would be interested in? And you would be surprised at the types of goods and services that the agencies do buy. So the government contracts, they are a huge opportunity for all small businesses. One thing that we do, we try to shop first from small businesses before going out to any big boxes or larger organizations. We're actually gold to support small business, and we'll talk a little bit more about that further down the line today. So why do we want to buy from small businesses? One, we want to make sure that the larger businesses are not muscling out small businesses. It helps us to gain access to the new ideas that small businesses provide. A lot of times you hear people say the federal government is always a little bit behind when it comes to technology or current trends, different things like that. But reaching out to the smaller businesses, one thing that we know is a lot of innovation comes out of the minds of small businesses. We also want to support small businesses as engines of economic development and job creation. And we want to offer opportunities to disadvantaged socioeconomic groups. So what is the textbook definition of government contracting? It is the process of requesting proposals, evaluating bids, and awarding contracts. And we want to make sure that this can happen on a level playing field. We want to consider any bids from any qualified business. So don't think because you're small, we wouldn't take your business under consideration. The government is tasked to make sure that we consider everyone, especially the smaller qualified businesses. So when I mentioned that we are gold, 23% of prime government contracting dollars have to go to eligible small businesses. And of that, there are some subsections, and we'll talk about that once we get into the certifications. But we also offer counseling that assist small business contractors with ourselves as well as our resource partners to make sure that you have access to all of the information and training that you would need. So why should you consider government contracting? As I already mentioned, the US government is the world's largest buyer of goods and services. The SBA is required by law to provide 23% of all opportunities to small businesses. So federal government spending is approaching $600 billion. So when you think of that, 23% of that $600 billion is $138 billion out here for small businesses to take advantage of. Small business is expanding and contributing to the economy at record-breaking levels by better competing for and winning federal contracts. You all, as small businesses, have supported about 677,000 jobs, helping to drive creation, as I've mentioned, innovation, growth, both all three on local, regional, as well as national level. So small businesses have an immense impact on our national economy. Here's some trends when it comes to contracting. As many of you know, a lot of times with the census reporting, we are a couple of years behind. So right now our numbers are still in 2019. But as you can see, there's been a steady growth. In 2013, we were looking at $83 billion. And as we keep moving up in 2019, we were up to $133 billion. So there have been some historic highs. Small disadvantaged businesses received $51.6 billion of all small business eligible contracting dollars. This is in 2019. That was the highest ever. If we have any veterans on the webinar today, $22 billion of all eligible contracting dollars. Again, another historic high. And women-owned small businesses at $26 billion. Highest amount ever, and second time in the past 7 years that women-owned businesses have kind of exceeded these goals. Okay, the government exceeded the small business contracting goals. Again, 23% have to go to small businesses, but there's nothing precluding these agencies from exceeding that. So as you can see, 26.5% of all small business eligible dollars were awarded to small firms. So it may not seem excessively over the 23%, but it is just something to let you know that we're not looking at 23% and kind of sticking there, and we're hoping to continue to exceed that number. So we're going to bring it back home a little bit local. So I just talked about the national numbers. Now let's talk about Connecticut. Is there availability in Connecticut? Absolutely. Okay, so this slide talks specifically to Connecticut. The differences between fiscal year 18 and fiscal year 19, all small businesses, 635, almost $636 million went to all small in the fiscal year 2019. That was over $100 million change from 2018. Veteran-owned small businesses, almost 143 million, another increase of 31 million. Women-owned small business, while this was a decrease, still at 62 million, not too shabby. And I'm hoping to see that number continue even higher. Service disabled veteran-owned small businesses, 86 million, a change in 10,000 in an increase. 8A business, that is our socially and economically disadvantaged businesses. Another decrease, but again, 36, almost $37 million. And I'm working really hard at increasing some of these portfolios, especially the ones that we're seeing dips in the numbers. I think that it is because a lot of small businesses are not taking advantage of these certifications. Small disadvantaged businesses, an increase of 46 million. So from 99 to 146, almost 147. And then finally, our HUBZone, or historically underutilized business zones. Again, another dip. This is another one that we're hoping to get more firms to apply for the certification so that we can drive those numbers up. So these numbers that you're looking at right here, this is solely in the state of Connecticut. So if you are a business here in Connecticut, we do want you to know that the government is buying locally in Connecticut as well. So it behooves you to take a look at it and look into contracting and learn a little bit more about it. Okay. Is your business ready? The most important question that you can ask yourself when it comes to contracting. First, does the government buy the product or service that you sell? And I will explain to you how you can figure that out the easiest way. More than likely, the answer is going to be yes, but I will show you how you can assure yourself that the government is buying what you have. Are you capable of fulfilling a government contract? So can you dedicate the time? Are you going to need staff on hand? Do you have them? Do you know how to get them? Do you have the materials that would be needed to fulfill the contract? Is the majority owner a US citizen? That is a requirement. The majority owner does have to be a US citizen. Does your company have a place of business in the United States? So you have to be headquartered in the US. There's nothing that will stop you from outsourcing and doing business overseas, or maybe having a satellite office somewhere overseas, but you have to have a place of business here in the US as well. You have to be a for-profit business, and you have to prove that you've already begun to generate revenue in your primary NAICS code, or that you have experience. And finally, are you credit worthy? Okay. Do you have an accounting system? The easiest one, and one that people are used to hearing, is QuickBooks. Our resource partners are available. They do offer a lot of webinars, workshops, different things like that, showing you how to use QuickBooks. They can also help you to compile all of your financial statements. Do you have cash on hand to purchase working inventory if needed? So if you don't have all of the tools and equipment that you need, make sure that you have the resources to be able to acquire that equipment. Do you already have experience? If you don't currently, I know a lot of people, well, no one said that they had experience in the chat. I don't know if you're just being shy or if you don't have the experience, but there are ways for you to get that experience, even if you haven't gotten it from your current business. If you've partnered in the past with another business on a contract, you have other ways of proving that you've got the experience and the know-how to be able to fulfill these contracts. That is worth something as well. Do you know where to find contracting opportunities? We will tell you how to do that as well. Do you have the following: a DUNS number, the NAICS codes and size standards for your industry, and a SAM registration? Those are all required in order to do business with the federal government. Okay. So how do you get started? First, as I mentioned, you have to obtain your DUNS number. This is free. Actually, everything that I talked to you about today is going to be free. So if you ever find yourself in a place where you're registering for something or applying for something and you're prompted to enter any type of payment information, please reach out to us because you may be in the wrong place, okay? So you get your DUNS number from Dun & Bradstreet. Again, it's free. It should take no more than 1 to 2 business days to obtain a DUNS number. You may already have one if you've gotten any type of commercial loans or if you've got a business credit card. Different things like that will automatically attach a DUNS number to your business. So when you go to the website, the first thing that you're going to do is put in your business information to see if you already have a DUNS number. Okay, what you're going to need: a legal name, your headquarters name and address, if you have a DBA, your physical address as well as your mailing address, telephone number, the contact name and title, and how many employees are at your physical location. As you're going through any process with your business, one of the tips that I like to give is to make sure that however you spell out your business name on one form or in one database, you do it the same consistently. A lot of these databases are now linked together. So when you put in, let's say I am Baptiste Enterprises. If I am in Dun & Bradstreet and I have the B and the E uppercase, every database that I go into, you want to make sure that you have the same punctuation, the same case for any of your wording. Even with the address, if you abbreviate street in one system, make sure you're abbreviating it in all of the systems, okay? That's important because if there's any deviations, sometimes these systems will not find your business. One last thing to mention about DUNS, they do offer additional services. So whenever you do go in there, and if you do apply to get your DUNS number, it may prompt you to ask you if you want to subscribe to their services. You're not required to do that. That does come with a fee. It's up to you if you want to do it, but I can tell you right now, you're not required to do it. It will not stop you from being able to move forward with any of the government contracting or registering in any of these other systems. Okay. So the second step is to determine your NAICS code, and that is the North American Industry Classification System. So basically, it just establishes what type of business that you are. The purpose of it: facilitate the collection, tabulation, presentation, and analysis of data relating to establishments. So this is where you go to census, how they're getting a lot of their information about industries. They're getting that based on NAICS codes and the different uses of NAICS codes. Many of you, if you're already in business, you'll notice on your taxes, you'll have a NAICS code there. Please pay attention to what that NAICS code is. A lot of times your accountants will put a general that may not be what your business actually does. So you want to make sure that they're using the proper NAICS code, that especially now with all of the different services and relief options with the pandemic, a lot of people are running into issues because their NAICS codes on their taxes have been incorrect. So definitely take a look at what you're reporting your NAICS code as. Okay. So the structure of the NAICS code, it is 6 digits. There is rhyme and reason. Sometimes a lot of these numbers seem very random, but the first 2 digits designates the sector of your business. The 3rd digit will be your subsector. The 4th digit designates the industry group that you're in. The 5th digit designates the NAICS industry, and the 6th will be the national industry. And a lot of times the NAICS and the national industry are the same. In those instances, the 6th digit will be a 0. That is just food for thought, nothing that you have to really spend too much time trying to learn, but just kind of to let you know why it's structured the way that it is. This is where you go to determine your NAICS code. It's on the census website. What you'll do, they're in the current, they update it every 5 years, so it is coming up for another update. But right now, the most recent one available to you all is going to be the 2017 NAICS search. So I always say use the keyword. Don't worry about the 2-digit code. Enter in a keyword that identifies your business. You'll hit the search. I searched for sanitation. 4 records were found for sanitation. So that may happen to you as well. So you'll take a look at them. As you can see, those blue font with the underline means that it's a hyperlink. So you can click on the hyperlink. I clicked on the 541620, which is environmental consulting services. So this will give you the full definition of what that NAICS code is, just so that you can make sure it is what you do. And then they have cross references and how the NAICS code has evolved over the years. So this one, it hasn't changed since 2007. It's always been the 541620. So with the NAICS code, another thing that I'm going to mention here is that you can have more than one, that most people do. You have to have one primary. How you determine your primary is going to be based on annual receipts. So whichever NAICS code is your revenue driver, that will be your primary NAICS code. Any other services that you may render or any products that you have, you can add them as supplemental NAICS codes. You're going to put those in your SAM profile, which we're going to talk about right now. And on a side note with SAM, we do with the current COVID relief options, we have a couple that are coming up that are going to require a SAM registration. So if you hear that and see that, this is what they are talking about. I won't be going too deeply into it today, but if you do go to the SBA website, I believe it's going to be in April. I'm doing a full webinar on registering in SAM, screenshots and everything from start to finish, how to get your business registered in SAM. Okay, just little side note for you there. So what is SAM? It is a system for award management. We like to call it our payment system for the government. Registration is free. It is required if you're going to do any federal contracting, and it is my understanding that soon the state of Connecticut is also going to be requiring that you be registered in SAM in order to do any contracting with the state. It will assign you automatically a cage code that comes from SAM. We have nothing to do with that on the SBA side. It does also facilitate paperless payment, and it renews annually. The renewal is just as simple as going through the system, all of the screens, and making sure there are no changes. If there are no changes, you just go all the way to the end and you hit submit, and your SAM profile has been renewed. Again, this is all free. SAM will never reach out to you and tell you that you owe them money for anything. They will never tell you you have to pay to register in SAM, and they will never tell you that you need to pay to renew your SAM profile. I'm saying all of this for a reason, because once you're in SAM, you may get solicitations saying that you need to renew your profile and they're going to ask you for payment. These are not emails that are coming from sam.gov. So just pay attention to that. This is what SAM looks like when you get there. With many government platforms now, login.gov is required. If you already have a login.gov, it will work for all of these systems. Just as you are going into them, they're going to tell you to log in through login.gov. It's just another layer of security. And if you use login.gov for any personal reasons, so let's say me, for example, I have 2 login.govs because one, I'm a veteran. So to access any of my personal veteran information or to look into my records and different things like that with the VA, I have to use login.gov to access that. But also as a federal employee, I have to use login.gov to log into, for example, SAM. So I have 2 different login.gov profiles. So if you already have one on the personal end, I do recommend that you create a second one for your business. That way you're not kind of getting the 2 mixed up. Okay, so where do you go to find government contracting opportunities? Beta.sam.gov. I know we just talked about sam.gov. The reason that this one is called beta.sam.gov is because it is consolidating a lot of different sites, a lot of different platforms that have been used that are relative to government contracting, working with GSA, different things like that. So what GSA decided is that instead of having 10 different sites for users to go through, they were going to consolidate all of these sites into one, which eventually will just be sam.gov. Once the consolidation is different, the beta will be dropped off of this end of it. But for right now, to see what contracts are out there, you're going to go to beta.sam.gov. You'll be able to view procurement notices from all of the federal contracting offices. Any bids that are out there over $25,000 will be on beta.sam.gov. There are different types of notices. You have your sources sought, pre-solicitations, any special notices. You have your combined synopsis, solicitations. You can add yourself as an interested vendor. You can watch different opportunities out there. You can view a list of interested vendors. You can see what's out there for set aside, so total small businesses or any of these other certifications. We'll talk about those a little bit further down the line. This is where you will also go if you are wondering if the government buys what you offer. This is what beta.sam.gov looks like. When you go in there, you're going to click where it's going to automatically show all award data, and you're going to have that down arrow. You're going to click there. You're going to change it to contract opportunities, and you can search from a variety of ways. The easiest way, if you're not super familiar with the process, is just to put in some keywords. So let's say you're in the sanitation industry and you just want to say, are there any federal agencies out there that are interested in sanitation? Can I get a contract for that? If you're selling a certain type of widget, office supplies, furniture, different things like that, you can put that in the search as well. When you do that, you'll get your search results there. And from there, you can drill down to make it a little bit local or more customized to you. Again, I searched for sanitation. And I found one with the Department of the VA. And this was a service contract for New Wave Ablation System. And as you look into the contract opportunity, there are different tabs that you can see over there on the left. This right here is just a contract opportunity. It lets you know the notice ID. It shows you that this is an active notice. You scroll down, you've got the general information. This one here is what's called a sources sought. It lets you know when it's published, when responses are due, when it goes inactive. It has a classification. So there you can see the NAICS code for this one is 811219. and this is for all other electronic and precision equipment repair and maintenance. Place of performance is at the VA here in Connecticut. This is a full description. I'm obviously not going to read that entire description to you all, but this will let you know exactly what it is that the contracting officer is looking for. So you'll read through that. You'll say, yes, I can absolutely do that. You'll keep on going down. If there are any attachments, they will be listed here. You can see here it has access. This one is public. So you'll be able to click on that hyperlink. This is a Word document. You'll be able to open it and read through it. If it's private, you won't be able to. A lot of times, if you're looking at something from, say, the DoD, the Department of Defense, anything that has a higher classification rating, some of their documents may be private. So you'll reach out to the contracting officer, or you'll know how to get the access if you have the proper clearance for that. You also see the contact information. The next one, you scroll down a little bit more, you can actually see the primary point of contact. They have their email address as well as their telephone number. So if you're reading through the contract and you have questions, this would be the person that you would directly reach out to with any questions that you have. Okay. So I keep mentioning these certifications. We are finally going to talk about those. Okay. So again, 23% of prime contracting dollars have to go to small businesses. Of the 23%, there's additional set aside and acquisition goals that agencies have to reach. So the first one that we're going to talk about, women-owned small business, 5% of their dollars have to go to women-owned small businesses. Small disadvantaged businesses, including 8A, 5% must go to the 8A certified businesses. HUBZone businesses, 3% must go to HUBZones. And service disabled veteran-owned small businesses, another 3% must go to the service disabled veteran-owned small business. You'll see a lot of these abbreviated. We do a lot of acronyms and abbreviations in the government. As you get more experience, some of these will roll right off your tongue. Sometimes you'll still have to go back and reference to grasp a couple of them. So set-asides, they are reserved for small businesses between what you'll hear of as the micro purchase threshold and the simplified acquisition threshold, or SAT, and that is between $3,500 and $250,000. So first we're going to talk about the 8A Business Development Program. Again, this is for business entities that are owned by someone who is considered socially and economically disadvantaged. You have to have both of those requirements met to qualify for the 8A program. Through the 8A Business Development Program, you will have access to business development support. The purpose is to assist you in building capacity and growing through government contracts. This is a 9-year program. It is only available to you once per lifetime, and that is for both the lifetime of the business owner as well as the business itself. So we'll use Baptiste Enterprise again. I own Baptiste Enterprise. I am an 8A participant. I'm now ready to retire. I'm doing all of my succession planning, and I sell Baptiste Enterprises to Jane Doe. Jane Doe now owns Baptiste Enterprise. Jane Doe says, oh, I'm also socially and economically disadvantaged. I want to apply for the 8A Business Development Program. Jane will not qualify because Baptiste Enterprise already participated in the program. Okay, so it is for the life of both the business as well as the business owner. So again, the objectives, we want to give you management and technical assistance to help you to compete for business opportunities, help you to understand and succeed in government contracting. And we want to assist and graduate firms, allowing you to thrive competitively. Again, this is a business development program. So in the first several years of the program, if you're really leaning on getting those 8A set-aside contracts, the majority of your portfolio are 8A contracts, that's perfectly fine. But as you progress through the program, we are expecting you to have a nice mixture of both open competitive contracts as well as 8A contracts. Okay. We also have our historically underutilized business zone certification, or HUBZone. So the purpose of this, stimulating capital investment, helping you to build capacity and grow, and you get access to HUBZone set-aside contract dollars. So what is it? What is a HUBZone? We want to offer employment opportunities to people in the area, encourage capital investment in those areas, and economic leverage. So unlike the 8A program, where it is designed to assist the business and the business owner itself, the HUBZone is designed, yes, to help the business and the business owner, but also to help that community. We want to help stimulate that community, both with reducing unemployment, as well as investing capital into the area, helping to kind of stimulate that economy, that local economy. Women-Owned Small Business Program. Again, you're taking advantage of prime contracting goals, helping to build capacity and grow, and access set-asides for women-owned small business and economically disadvantaged women-owned small business. One thing I want to mention on the WASB program is that it differs from just being a woman-owned business. And I know that can get a little bit confusing, because when I'm a woman, I own a business, I should qualify for the Women-Owned Small Business Program. This program is designed for specific NAICS codes as well. So it's more for women-owned small businesses that are in industries that are historically male-dominated. Again, the purpose is to even out that playing field. So we want to make sure that women in this industry have just as much opportunity for success as men in that industry as well. Okay, so we also have our service disabled veteran-owned small business program. This is currently mostly a self-certified program, so you can basically go into SAM and say, I am a service disabled veteran-owned small business, and that's all there is to it. We'll take your word for it, that is fact. However, there are certain agencies that require you to have the more formal certification through the VA, through VetBiz. So I encourage everyone to go through that formal process anyway. You just go to the VA's website under businesses, get that certification. They're just going to pull your records, your DD 214. They may look into, well, if you're looking for service disabled, veteran owned, they will look into your VA records just to make sure that you do have a disability rating and that you qualify for it. And when you go through this process, this is the only time that you are authorized to put those veteran owned and service disabled veteran owned small business logos on your establishment, as well as any of your materials for your business. So if you haven't gone through the formal process, you cannot use those logos. Just want to put that out there as well. We also have our All Small Mentor Protege program. This is another great way for you to get experience with government contracting by coming together with a more established business, a mentor, or you would be the protege, the larger business, the more established would be the mentor. We do not match you with a mentor, so this is a relationship that you won't have to establish on your own. So the benefit of that for you as a small business, you get access to business development assistance, you can build capacity and grow, you can establish joint ventures with the other business to work on contracts together if you don't have all of the resources on your own to work on this contract. That is where the benefit for the mentor comes in, because now if you've established a joint venture with your protege and your protege is small but you're not, or your protege is an 8A firm but you're not, they can now bid on these contracts with you under this joint venture. So it is mutually beneficial for both of you with the Mentor Protege program. We get a lot of the what's in it for me questions, or what's in it for a larger business to work with us. And that is the biggest benefit for them. So again, today I just gave you a very broad overview of what exactly government contracting is. I have a series coming up actually in April, 13 modules that are going to dive deeper into a lot of things with government contracting. So if you heard anything today that you want more information on, you can just shoot me an email. That is the best way to reach me. I'm not the best at getting to my phone when it rings. I'm doing webinars, I'm off and about doing all kinds of things. So a lot of times I will miss phone calls, but if you shoot me an email, I can get you the information that you need. I can set up any appointments with any of you. If you just want to sit and chit chat and get some more information, that is something that we can do as well. We are located in Hartford. However, we are still all working from home. So we are not currently seeing people in person, but we do utilize ways of being able to see you virtually and have virtual meetings with you all. So with that being said, I am open to go ahead and open it for questions. Do we have any questions out there on anything that we talked about today?
All right, awesome. Yeah, I see 2 questions. I'm gonna let Joni handle those, but I did get a question through my email from Marianne, who asked, how long do I have to be in business to qualify for a government contract? And she owns a home care agency.
So that is a tricky one. So generally 2 years. Okay, that is the general answer to that one. Generally 2 years is the spot that people like to hear. However, there are exceptions to everything. So let's say you just opened a business, you haven't been open for the 2 years, but you've got a ton of experience. You are working for someone else and you've helped them with contracts. You've got all of the credentials that you need. You're absolutely capable of taking on a job on your own. We will waive that to, well, most people will waive the 2-year requirement. I know for our certifications that have the 2-year requirement, we will look at different things like that when it comes to requesting a waiver.
Okay, hi, this is Joni. We have another couple of questions. One is from someone who owns a tailor, and they're looking to see if they can qualify as a manufacturer, potentially pair up with other companies that need them to make things for them using their sewing and production capabilities.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if, like I said, when you look in SAM, you have like add me to interested vendors. If you look at different things where people are going to need large amounts of tailoring done, or large amounts of any type of, I'm trying to use a word, I can't think of the word. I want to say clothes, but tailoring goes far beyond clothing. But anything that you know that you can assist with, you can add yourself to the interested vendors. You can also, anyone that's interested in doing joint ventures and different things like that, their information is public on our website on sba.gov. There is a list of businesses that you can reach out to. I always tell people to network, network, network. Any networking opportunities that you see that come up, absolutely try your best to attend them. If you can, join your local chambers of commerce so that you can network with other businesses that way. But there are a lot of teaming opportunities out there as well. And you can probably work on your own contracts, because you may find an agency that is looking for tailoring services, say for their uniforms and different things. So like, let's say someone that's in the correction industry. All of their employees have to wear uniforms. Oftentimes their uniforms may need to be tailored. So you may be able to find your own contract on your own as well.
Thank you. We have another question. This group we have completed steps 1 to 3 and have been looking at Betasamgov for opportunities with no success yet. We're an advertising agency. Any suggestions?
Absolutely. I suggest that you reach out to Connecticut PTAC. That is the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. I believe it's ctptac.org. And you can get set up with a counselor with them, and they will help you. They have bid match services. They will help you navigate beta.sam.gov. All of their services are also free.
Thank you. If I've only recently started a tech company as a woman, should I wait 2 years?
No, there's no minimum time in business requirement for the woman-owned small business, so you can go ahead and apply for that right now.
Okay, and here's one last one so far. Do we need to be a manufacturing code to qualify, or is our retail code okay?
You don't have to be in manufacturing. You can be, as long as you have a NAICS code, and as long as there's a little bit of trickiness when you're talking retail, just make sure that it is your own business and you're not kind of like the go-through person, like kind of like the delivery person. So let's say you technically are working for a larger entity, and you're kind of everything flows through you. So that one can get a little bit tricky, but as long as you have a NAICS code and it is your own business, yes, you qualify. It does not have to be manufacturing.
Thank you. This one came up earlier. What's the definition of a small business?
It depends. It depends on your NAICS code. So it's either going to be based on annual receipts or number of employees.
Okay, thank you.
But like 98% of businesses in the nation are small.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that cptac.org website? She didn't get to write it down.
Yep, let me go ahead. What I can do is I can put it in the chat.
Awesome.
Maybe if the chat will open for me. Let's see. There we go, maybe. You know what? The chat doesn't want to work for me. So, oh wait, here it is. I lied. It won't let me type. I think it might be because everything is slow because I'm sharing my screen. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Or it could be my network, one or the other. But it is, I'm going to say it as well. It is CT, P as in Peter, T as in Tom, A, C as in Charlie, .org.
I do have a couple more questions.
Okay.
Do you also get involved with grants that small businesses can apply for?
I do not. We usually tell you for the grants. I know the SBA has a couple coming up, for like the shuttered venues grant and things like that. That portal has not opened, so I do not have enough information to really speak to it. But I will say a lot of people have recommended grantwatch.com as well as streetshares.com for grants.
This one is a small hotel and event facility. Is there any special way that they should proceed?
No, we have some hotels. We do have some people in that industry that do participate in our programs. The only one that would be a hard stop is in any type of like residential, like leasing or anything like that. When it comes to that type of real estate, those are the ones that are going to be more or less ineligible for a lot of our programs, just because we have an occupancy requirement thing for a lot of our programs.
And is there any, I'm trying to read it, sorry. Is there any mentor or person that could help our small business figure out which ones could be best?
Yeah, so I would say PTAC, but in terms of the certifications, if you qualify, sign up for them all. You're not limited to only, if you are a veteran, woman-owned small business, that's also socially and economically disadvantaged, and you live in a hub zone, apply for all of them.
Perfect. How does a business find a mentor?
Networking. We have matchmaker events that happen every year in conjunction with the University of Hartford. I always recommend that businesses attend the matchmaker. Last year we did it virtually. It will probably be virtual again this year. We don't know when we'll be able to have large events like that in person, but I always recommend the matchmakers, and you network not only with the agencies, but you network with other businesses that are there. That is how you will find a great mentor-protege relationship.
Thank you. And I don't see any more questions coming through. I think we're at the end of them.
Okay, so you guys have my contact information. I'll put my email in again, just in case you did not write it down. Feel free to email me. You can sign up for our newsletters I'm also going to put in our website, sba.gov/CT. Our newsletters will let you know anytime that us or any of our resource partners are having any free webinars that you can attend, different things like that. We're also on Twitter. So any events that are occurring, especially if you're interested in like the shuttered venue grants. I know we have a restaurant program that's coming about to come about, dealing with, again, the economic aid following COVID. So follow us on Twitter, sign up for our newsletter. Anytime we get any new information on any of these things, those are the places that you'll be able to find it.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to tell us about these government contracts and how it is able to happen for small businesses here in Connecticut. I think a lot of people were surprised at the opportunity out there that they can take advantage of. So we appreciate you helping our accredited businesses and any business who joined today. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us or to Nisha. We will connect you to her if it's a question that she can answer. And please keep an eye out for any of our next Building Better Business webinars. All right, have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.